बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृता दुष्कृते तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
One endowed with spiritual intelligence or knowledge of God casts off both good and evil here. Therefore, be diligent in the science of yoga. Skill in the performance of duties done for the sake of the grace of the Lord without any desire for the fruits is yoga.
Carry on your work with equanimity. Keep working but remain untouched by its result. This implies yoga or skill. If you expect something from your good deed, it will bind you. It doesn't mean skill. People with equanimity and good-heartedness give up their merit and demerit here and leave their bodies. It is only the fool who carries forward his merit and demerit. Then, the heaven or hell gets ready for him. If he doesn't carry forward his merit and demerit, neither heaven nor hell exists. So, leave the entire luggage here. It is not so easy to give up merit and demerit. It requires a lot of training. Therefore, learn to give up merit and demerit here.
Whatever work you do it patiently and skillfully. Concentrate on the work you do. Perform the work perfectly. There should be completeness in it. Even that is yoga. Performing the work without any expectation is also yoga. Though you have no expectations, you are bound to get the result. As you are not aware of it, you are keeping expectations. While performing that work, you should remain untouched by the merit and demerit arising out of it. You should ensure that you are untouched by both merit and demerit. If you perform the work this way, it constitutes karma yoga. If you perform karma as yoga, it will not bind you and will eradicate your tendencies. The new tendencies do not arise, and the old tendencies disappear.
The Upanishads ask us to attain the state of immortality. Immortality implies conquering death even before you face death. That is, you should not get bothered even when confronted by death. You will not think that you are going to die when the body dies. It is immortality. The fire burns your bodies in the burial ground. But the self within cannot be burnt by fire. It is omnipresent and exists within your heart. Self not only exists within your heart but is very much you only. Unless you recognize the self within your heart, you cannot realize that it is the same one that is omnipresent. Currently, you have the identification with the body and mind, which is very natural for you. Similarly, if you identify with the self within, you will not feel that you are going to die at the time of your body's death because you identify with the deathless self. Therefore, attain that immortal state now itself. If you feel that it cannot be achieved so soon, at least reach that state on your deathbed. Then you will not have any more births, or you need not carry corpses anymore. If you die without attaining that state, you will incur an immeasurable loss.
To attain the immortal state, control the senses and mind. When the senses and mind are uncontrolled, the intellect and words will not be stable. He will then talk whatever comes to his mouth. He becomes a fool. His behavior keeps changing daily. We see many people who give up their devotion when unfavorable circumstances exist. They say, "We have been devoted for a long period, but what benefit has God bestowed upon us?" One whose mind is impure will not even attain faith in God's existence. One who does not have a firm faith in the existence of God cannot be peaceful, and the one who is devoid of peace cannot become blissful. For the one who has the stable intellect that there is a God, there is a controller who controls you, me, and the five elements. All his sorrow vanishes without any of his efforts. When you face hardships, you think that God doesn't exist. But how is God related to your hardships or happiness? You don't realize that you reap what you have sown. You will get good for the good and bad for the bad done. Therefore, God is in no way related to your actions. When the mind is faultless, you get the living faith in the existence of God. Then, your mind clings to the Supreme Lord.
Though you are not able to perform spiritual practices, though you are not able to practice yoga, if your conclusion is firm that God exists, your sorrow will vanish. It is because whatever you may get, you consider it as His blessing. Everyone has the defect of contemplating sensory objects. Based on the impressions of the previous births, they get attracted to a particular sensory object. Wherever the mind gets attracted, it indicates that we have performed that work willingly in our earlier births to a great extent. As the faith in God keeps increasing, the mind breaks its relation with the sensory objects and comes back to cling to God's feet. This is what you are going to gain. Though your effort is less, if you have faith in God, the mind returns quickly.
बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम् बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्मात् योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्
श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मयैवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते.
O Arjuna, when one gives up all desires for sense gratification produced in the mind and becomes satisfied by the realization of the self in the pure state of the soul, he is said to be a person with steadfast wisdom.
One who can completely sacrifice the desires within his mind, and with a pure mind can constantly experience self-related bliss, is called a sthita prajna, one who possesses steadfast wisdom. Watch the tendencies within your mind. Then, try to eliminate them one by one as they represent the faults that have existed since thousands of births. Suppose you perform any of God's forbidden tasks. These faults will increase. You have specific necessities. Your mind creates all the thoughts beyond your necessities. The food you eat to sustain your body is not a desire. If you store your clothes, it is not a desire. If you construct a house for the sake of shelter, it is not a desire. Apart from these, your mind creates specific desires artificially. If you possess any such desires, try to reduce them.
Nothing can disturb your peace if your mind is within your control. even in adverse circumstances. Don't get angry when inflicted with sorrow. Even after the advent of sorrow, maintain the same state of mind that existed before the advent of sorrow. You may get happiness, but that is not true. It is nothing but sorrow that seems to be happiness. If you get any happiness due to external causes, it will convert into sorrow on one day or another. You will have to experience the same along with the interest resembling the interest paid on a loan. It is the law. Only the independent joy and peace from the heart within will stay forever.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogataan Atmanyevatmana tuštah sthita prajnastadochyate Shri Bhagavanuvacha Shri Bhagavanuvacha Prajahati yada Kaman sarva Parthamanogata Atmanyeva Atmana tushta Sthita prajna Tadochyate